Whether you bond over streaming binge-worthy videos, watching sports recaps, video gaming, or by unplugging altogether, the 2026 Lincoln Nautilus Hybrid helps keep you connected throughout your journey. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Available connectivity features and functionality vary by model. Package pricing, trials, and term lengths vary by model. Video streaming and games are only available while parked.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, 2 big Iranian leaders down. Only a few more to go. We're going to talk about some of the big strikes that took place on some of the huge top leaders of Iran. Those who dare to kind of come out in public. Well, guess what? See ya. The Israeli military took them out. And also President Trump essentially saying see ya to NATO and also to the EU and others, essentially to our allies, saying, you know, I was asking you to come to the table on the Strait of Hormuz, where so much of the world's oil goes through. It's controlled by Iran, and Iran is blocking. And if you're not going to come to the table, well, then you're not a very good ally. And the United States is there for you when you need us. He brought up Ukraine. He brought up a whole bunch of stuff. And he said, we're going to remember those who didn't come to the table. And sadly, there's a lot of them. And in fact, I couldn't believe this. France said today, Emmanuel Macron came out today. He was with his Grey Poupon and everything else. And he essentially said, we're not going to do anything while the bombing's going on. So how many cojones do you have, France? 0. Are you kidding me? What, you want to wait till everything is fine when President Trump doesn't need even a single little boat from you? Look at all the destruction and damage and enormous success that U.S. military strikes have caused and Israeli strikes. And they've already done an enormous amount. They've decimated their Air Force. They've decimated Iran's Navy. But I guess France doesn't even want to offer one little minesweeping boat. What a pathetic, horrible ally. And President Trump came out today and said, we, America, will remember. Here's President Trump on the NATO members declining to help in Operation Epic Fury.
NATO for not supporting you on this. Any repercussions?
Well, no, I just think that it's not good for a partnership when they say what you're doing is a great thing, but we're not going to help. You know, they say what you did is a great thing, but we're not going to help.
It's a great thing, but we're not going to help. Bravo, but we're not going to help. Bravo, but we're not going to even give a single ship or anything else. That is wimpy and it is pathetic. And bravo for President Trump for calling them out. What a bunch of hypocrites. And what would St. Patrick's Day be, by the way, you guys? Luck of the Irish. We love the Irish. Some huge parades and events taking place across the country. The St. Patrick's Day parades are always absolutely spectacular. And what would a St. Patrick's Day parade be without New York City communist socialist mayor Zoran Mandani actually using the St. Patrick's Day event where you're supposed to be talking about the Irish and praising them for their great work, great contributions to America, how many of them are just an enormous success and have such great values. Well, Zoran Mandani turned that event into a lecture about genocide, ripping the genocide that he says is happening in, quote, Palestine. Listen to this. This is like a St. Patrick's Day message like I've never heard.
I say this as over the past few years, as we've witnessed a genocide unfold before our eyes, there has been deafening silence from so many. For those who have long cared about universal human rights and the extension of them to Palestinians, silence, however, is nothing new. For Palestinians are so often left to weep alone. Yet former President Robinson has never been silent. Not when she was president, not when she was High Commissioner for Human Rights, and not in the decades since. As she once said, commemoration is a moral act. Her solidarity is many things: unwavering, sincere, and chief among them, Irish. Irish solidarity is no coincidence. Who can better understand those who weep than those who have been made to weep for so long? The story of the Irish, both in Ireland and in New York City, is at one time a story of oppression, of subjugation, and of discrimination. As we know, it was on Irish soil that the British Empire developed their colonial project. So much of the exploitation later imposed elsewhere across the world was first honed in the plantations of Ireland. And yet when I think of the Irish, I do not think first of oppression. I think of resistance. I think of unity. I think of corned beef and 96-minute Troy Parrott goals and the Pogues' fairy tale of New York. Above all, I think of that solidarity.
And guess what? When I think of St. Patrick's Day, I say Happy St. Patty's Day. Luck of the Irish. I think of leprechauns. I think of those drinking Irish beer. I think of everybody having a great time and everybody wanting to be Irish because there's so much joy and so many great values in the Irish community. I don't think about lecturing about Palestinian, quote, genocide. Somehow I missed what happened on October 7th. Did he condemn Hamas for October 7th today? I think I missed that. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Al in Yonkers on line 4. Al, happy St. Patrick's Day. What did you think of the genocide lecture from Mandani?
Yeah, thank you, Rita. I hope you had a great day, too. I'm an Irish American. But there is a faction of Irish in Ireland and here who might sympathize with the mayor because they look at the situation in the North with the English over the years during the Troubles and the Irish when they had to fight the English and the Loyalists in the North.
Absolutely. So no. I hear why he tapped into it.
Yeah.
It's just, but to me, I think it is not the time to be doing that and to be bringing up again, after all the things that he has already said, blasting Israel, condemning Israel at every single turn. I'm ready for him to say, happy Wednesday, genocide to the Palestinians Day. I'm waiting for him to change that in the curriculum. Like the days of the week are genocide against Palestinian Monday, genocide against the Palestinians Tuesday, and let's go after the Israelis on Wednesday, and the Israelis are the worst on Thursday. I just find it disgusting, Al. Your thoughts?
No, I agree. He just thought maybe he would find a sympathetic party there, but realistically, they're not. Most Irish Americans stand with Israel. The Irish over on the other side, they might sympathize somewhat with the Palestinian plight, but overall, it was the wrong time for him to bring that up. It definitely shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, can it be a joyous, happy day to celebrate? Yes. I've heard a lot of these speeches through the years, Al, and covered many of them. I don't ever remember one that somehow went into the genocide of the this, of the that, as opposed to, you're a vibrant part of New York City. You're a great part. You've done this. You've done that. I'll give them credit for being original, for taking advantage of the day to blast Israel one more time. That's a new one, Al.
Yes, I agree. He went out there, and I thought he would got a lot of people predicted he was going to get roundly booed, the mayor, but I don't know if he did. It was a beautiful day for a parade, and it's a great parade, and I hope everybody had a great day.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful day. I didn't get a chance to go to the parade, but it was a beautiful, sunny, gorgeous day, and I agree that I was happy the sun was shining on the Irish. And I'm happy that so many people came out. It's always beautiful around the country, around the world. The Irish people are just beautiful and joyous and happy. And again, hard workers and have had some hard scrabbles, fighters, and yes. I admire that for sure. Al, thank you. It's always great to talk to you. Thank you, Al. We love always hearing from you. Let's go to Sandra in New Jersey, line 5. Go ahead, Sandra, your thoughts tonight.
Oh, boy, Rita, how you doing? I'm glad you're feeling better.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. I missed you guys. Thank you.
So I think about Donald Trump all the time, and it just bothers me when people are not supporting him. And a simple thing, I never remember when the gas went down that news reporters would say, "Wow, gas is going down." But now that it's going up, that's all I hear. The price of gas is going up because of the war. Now, what I'm thinking about is during World War II, Americans sacrificed so much. They sacrificed everything. Gas was rationed, food was rationed, families were separated. It goes on and on and on. So we have a little inconvenience now. Gas is going up. You know what? That's a little bit to pay for the evil that we're trying to get rid of. And then I say to myself, what can I personally do? My own victory garden moment. Rita, when I want to go shopping for small items, not a lot, I take my bicycle now, and that's how I want to do it, just to, show that I don't really need to drive all the time if I don't have to. And in my own little way, I'm contributing to Trump's cause. I could sacrifice a little because this is an important time that we're going through, and I'm not going to be one to complain. And it bothers me when I see people complaining about the price of gas going up. It could be so much worse.
It could be. By the way, I love what you just said is like sort of everybody kind of does their part. And you think about like in World War II, the stories of like how people were rationing and, and had to ration, but were doing it because they were all in it together as Americans against this, world evil. And it happened, of course, in other countries as well, too, where they were, fighting with America against evil. So I 100%, I agree. That's really I think that's really beautiful, Sandra. And your other point about gas prices going up. Yeah, they are going up. It's not a surprise given what we're doing. We're going after this heinous regime that also, it's creating instability clearly in the oil markets and with everything with the Strait of Hormuz and everything else. But it's brief. And exactly to your point, I'm wondering, where were these people when gas prices were consistently up for 4 years under Joe Biden for no reason? It wasn't like there was a reason for the prices to be going up for 4 straight years, gas prices. They were sky high, like you said. And then Trump brought them down, and they're still not where they were under Joe Biden. There's still a lot to celebrate, and it is expected given this, and I think it's just going to last a few more weeks. And I think the minute this is over, I think prices are going to drop like never before and probably will be even lower than they ever were. This is a blip. This is not like 4 years of bad policy, which is exactly what we saw under Joe Biden. And yet, like you said, the media is spinning it like, this is terrible, but won't mention what happened under Joe Biden and going after Iran. We're not sure about it. That's ridiculous. If you switch the names and said Bill Clinton or Barack Obama or Joe Biden did it, the media would be cheering. And quite frankly, I would be too, Sandra, because it's the right thing to do. I understand the threat that Iran poses, and this shouldn't be a Democrat or a Republican issue. This should be an American issue. And for that reason, I applaud you for being a great American and taking your bike. Sandra, you're great. It's always so sweet to hear from you. Thank you very, very much. 1-800-848-9222. And everybody, will continue with your calls here on The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Instagram teen accounts have automatic protections for what teens see and who can contact them, plus time management tools. And Instagram will continue adding built-in safety features to help create age-appropriate experiences. Learn more about teen accounts and Instagram's ongoing work to protect teens online at instagram.com/teen accounts.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
If you're a QuickBooks customer looking to grow your business without the growing pains, you need the Intuit ERP. Upgrade to Intuit Enterprise Suite in a matter of hours. It's the AI native ERP from the makers of QuickBooks. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
This episode is brought to you by Cologuard. Do you know what's really scary? Not screening for colon cancer when you turn 45. The Cologuard test is non-invasive, requires no special prep or time off work, and ships right to your door. In just 3 simple steps, Cologuard takes the scare out of colon cancer screening. If you're 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about the Cologuard test. Cologuard is available by prescription only. Learn more or request a prescription today at Cologuard.com/screen.
It's the Rita Cosby Show.
Well, I guess it's not good loving gone bad. It's a good opportunity to celebrate St. Patrick's Day gone bad. That's the best thing I can say about Mandani's speech. 1-800-848-9222 to use St. Patrick's Day as the occasion to, quote, talk about the, quote, genocide on Palestine. Does anybody out there think that's appropriate? 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Ephraim there in Rockland on line 5. Go ahead.
Hi. Just going to get you off of a speaker. Okay. I think that the only criterion to which to judge the mayor is whether what he's doing is good for New York or bad for New York. I'd like to understand how he thought that bringing up the Palestinian problem was good for New York.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. Do you think? Can you think of any way that it would have been?
I can't, but Churchill defined a fanatic as someone who can't change his mind and can't change the subject, and that fits Mandani.
Yeah, I agree. And a little later, by the way, in the show, Ephraim, I'm going to play some comments from good old Mandani's great friend, Mahmoud Khalil, who seems to think it's a trick question to condemn Hamas. He thinks it's racist to ask about Hamas. It really is frightening. And I keep I keep shaking my head, and I guess I shouldn't. I guess I should be sitting, thinking this is what, he said he was going to do. I mean, when he campaigned, he was pretty transparent who he was. And I think a lot of people thought, oh, that's just rhetoric. That's just rhetoric. No. He is a true believer. To your point.
I agree.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think is going on in his mind to use a St. Patrick's Day? And do you think he's going to use this for every occasion? Somehow, I think the word Palestine is going to come up, and how wonderful I guess Hamas is. I think it's going to come up almost every celebration, don't you? That's completely inappropriate.
I don't think it was a judgment. I think he thinks that the response to everything is Palestine, and that will continue. You think it's going to continue.
Yeah, and you going back to your original point about how is this good for New York? It is not good for New York. I think it's pretty straight ahead. I find it incredibly divisive, incredibly shocking. And again, I bring it back to, these occasions, the cultural occasions are great opportunities for groups to come together, for obviously people within the Irish community to come together, but also for other people to learn about Ireland. They're really it's sort of like a great advertisement for visiting Ireland and the great Irish people. And that's what it should be. It should be, a really powerful moment, unless something horrific happened in Ireland. Anything short of that, I'm talking about a bombing or something terrible happened to the Irish people, in recent weeks. Other than that, it should be spending joy and a great advertisement for a beautiful country. That's Ireland. And Mandani, completely inappropriate. I agree.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Adobe Acrobat, your new foundation. Use PDF Spaces to generate a presentation. Grab your docs, your permits, your moves. AI levels up your pitch, gets it in a groove. design, deliver, make it sing. AI builds the deck so you can build that thing. Do that, do that, do that with Acrobat.
Learn more at adobe.com/do-that-with-Acrobat.
Rita Cosby is on. The Rita Cosby Show presents Back the Blue.
And this Back the Blue segment coming from Wills Point, Texas, where police and the city marshal's office conducted a high water rescue at a residence in an area that exceeded 4.5 feet in depth with a very strong current. As the flooding impacted the area there in Texas recently, it resulted in several residents being evacuated in the early morning due to extensive and ongoing heavy rainfall. Severe flooding forced lots of families out of their home after water quickly filled their property. The mother of one of the families said the night started off quite normal. She and her family were at home. She cooked dinner. They were watching TV when it began to rain. At first, it was just normal rain, but then she said the situation quickly changed. So we immediately called 911, and we couldn't even see out of our gate. We knew we were in trouble. This is one for our little town was a big, big deal. She added that the water completely surrounded her house and started to come in around all the doors, and then it filled in on the inside with her and her children. And she said that led to a rescue we never, ever expected. So she said that when police arrived, they tied a rope to the house and then took one of the mattresses off my bed. Then we rode the mattress out to the street. She said it was very, very scary. Also, the landlord said, given the officers' exceptional and ongoing response to the area, incredibly, all of those impacted were successfully rescued. No injuries were reported, and everybody made it out safe and sound, thanks to our men and women in blue. Bravo to them. Well, thank goodness for those security guards. Remember in Michigan recently, as we are talking about some of these crazy comments that people have been talking about, and also threats to the homeland, which is truly at an all-time high. And we're learning some new details about the attacker. Remember the guy who drove his truck full of explosives, fireworks, and gas canisters, a 41-year-old guy who smashed his vehicle into the Temple Israel in West Bloomfield near Detroit in Michigan last week. First off, now we're finally getting a 911 call. This is his ex-wife who happened to call about 10 minutes after the crash. It doesn't sound like she's aware of the crash whatsoever. She just said she was very troubled about her ex-husband. Listen to what she said. Here's the 911 call.
I've been calling him. He's closing the phone. I talked to him for a little bit. I feel like his voice is not stable. So I just want to make sure he's okay.
His voice is not stable. He's clearly not stable. He just drove a truck into a temple, and there were more than 100 kindergarten kids inside. Thank goodness they're alive. And here is also the ex-wife a little bit more talking about what she believes was the reason he was, quote, unstable.
His family, his two brothers and their kids in an airstrike in Lebanon in the war, and he's not stable. He texted me. He sent me a voice message right now.
So he sent her a voice message right away and said that he was upset about family members who died in Lebanon. So it sounds like, oh, that's really sad. He was upset. Obviously, you don't bang your car into and cause harm to others. But it's not just any family. It turns out his brother was a commander of a Hezbollah terrorist group that was firing tons of missiles, lobbing them into Israel. So Israel appropriately took out the Hezbollah group, at least that sector that was firing on them. That's a righteous hit. That is a righteous hit. But they make it sound like, oh, how sad, his family was hurt. Sorry, it was a Hezbollah commander. So take a listen. Here's a little bit of background. This is a Fox News report about this guy's, quote, happy little family.
We heard he lost his niece and his nephew in Lebanon in a Hezbollah attack, and we were wondering, is that why he did this? Well, now it's being confirmed he lost his brother, who's a commander over there. He lost another brother. He lost his niece and his nephew on March 5th, and then he goes and does this last Thursday, and he's from Dearborn, Michigan.
So here's an expose from the IDF. Hezbollah commander Abraham Mohammed Ghazi was responsible for managing weapons operation within a specialized branch of the Bandar unit. The unit is responsible for launching hundreds of rockets toward Israeli civilians throughout the war. His brother Ayman Mohammed Ghazi carried out the terror attack in Michigan this past Thursday. Ibrahim was eliminated in an IAF strike on Hezbollah military structure last week.
Yeah, he happened to be wounded during a Hezbollah strike last week. I would say that that's a terrorist, pure and simple. And thank goodness he's no longer with us. Not that there's ever any excuse to do what this monster did. And yet, it's so sad. The Dearborn Township mayor at first was saying the same thing. He was distraught over a relative. Give him a break, basically. Sorry. I'm sorry if your relative is a Hezbollah leader, pure and simple. Good luck. I'm glad he's gone. And I hope the rest of the Hezbollah members are as well. And regardless, this guy took his own life. So he's up there with the 70 virgins as well. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Well, earlier today, we talked to former Congressman of Michigan, because, of course, that's where that synagogue attack took place. We talked to Mike Rogers on Cats and Cosby, and he talked about just how easy it is for individuals to get radicalized today. Take a listen.
We heard he lost his niece and his nephew in Lebanon in a Hezbollah attack, and we were wondering, is that why he did this? Well, now it's being confirmed he lost his brother, who's a commander over there. He lost another brother. He lost his niece and his nephew on March 5th, and then he goes and does this last Thursday, and he's from Dearborn, Michigan.
So here's an expose from the IDF. Hezbollah commander Abraham Mohammed Ghazi was responsible for managing weapons operation within a specialized branch of the Bandar unit. The unit is responsible for launching hundreds of rockets toward Israeli civilians throughout the war. His brother Ayman Mohammed Ghazi carried out the terror attack in Michigan this past Thursday. Ibrahim was eliminated in an IAF strike on Hezbollah military structure last week.
And that was, again, the background about the family. Here is Mike Rogers, who talked with us earlier today on Cats and Cosby.
No, it really is. And this whole push for anti-Semitism is growing, and it's growing in the darkest corners of the Internet. It is driving people. Here's the other thing, and Rita, you would certainly appreciate this as well as John. The Iranians are still using a disinformation campaign, and they're targeting pockets in America, like universities, areas that have high Muslim populations, to try to change the narrative that it's bad, it's wrong, that America is losing, you should stand up, you should fight this. And so it is easy to get radicalized on the Internet today. And so when he lost his brother, who is a commander for Hezbollah, that's what he needed that was his radicalization moment, and he decided to go and do some horrific attack on innocent children. This is important. These were innocent children going to school.
Yeah, there were over 100, right, in that daycare. I mean, this could have been catastrophic.
Oh, completely. Thankfully, the guards and the FBI, interestingly enough, I think it was either 1 week or 2 weeks before, gave them training. How about that for divine intervention? Gave them training how to respond to an attack incident, much like that. So that training kicked in for those security guards. I think that saved every single one of those children that day.
Yeah, thank goodness for those security guards. Thank goodness, as the former congressman was talking about, the training that exact synagogue got from the FBI, so they were prepared for a worst-case scenario. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Norm in Brooklyn, line 4. Go ahead, Norm.
Yeah, hi, Rita. Okay, I'm not Irish, but St. Patrick's Day, from what I understand, St. Patrick's Day is a joyous American holiday. It also can be a religious holiday in Ireland.
Yes.
I mean, it's anyway, but it is certainly not a holiday to bring up the troubles in Northern Ireland and to, in some ways, what he was doing was he was also glorifying the revolutionary types in Ireland, the ones in the 70s that blew up bars and things like that. That's Mandani's speed. This whole thing with talking about genocide, and it's I don't hear him ever talking about genocide in relation to what happened in Iran, 40,000 people, innocents being murdered. But,
by the way,
no,
Norm, I'm glad you brought that up.
Good.
You're right. I can't think of when he has said it's terrible what's happened to those, 30 to 40,000, maybe even more, sadly. Where is that? Where is him having compassion? And speaking of which, these crazy protesters that were out there, especially on Al-Quds Day on Friday in New York and LA and across the country, that were, saying essentially, long live the Ayatollah, shame, 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 hands off Iran. They were talking shame, hands off the Iranian regime. They were anti-American. And I didn't see any of them saying, let's make sure these courageous freedom fighters can come out of their house and take back their country. I mean, that's disgusting, right, Norm? It really is. The lack of that is shocking. Look,
this mayor is no good. He views the world through this Marxian revolutionary way of thinking, okay? He loved the IRA when they were blowing things up in Ireland, okay? He, I'm sure, likes Baden-Meinhof gang. Oh, I'm dating myself. He likes all these revolutionary groups, PLO, and, killing innocents, and then establishing some kind of a Marxian utopia, whatever twisted things are going on in his mind. Unfortunately, we have him as a mayor, and that's, it's just not. I'm so used to seeing mayors in the past, talking about Ireland and joking and playing up all the good things about Irish culture. No, this one here, he's looking to a very dark period and dark history of Ireland of killing innocents for independence, which is after independence.
Well, that's why, Norm, he's looking at these. He's looking at them like freedom fighters, Norm. You're hitting it on the head. That he's looking at these are heroic, just like the heroic anti-Israel individuals, because Israel bad, Palestinians, Hamas, all that good, it seems. I mean, that's my opinion. His values are so stilted, and I think you hit it on the head. It really is frightening, Norm. Thank you, Norm. Your points are always so great, and it's always wonderful to hear from you. Thank you. Let's go to Tyler in Poughkeepsie on line 5. You just heard what Norm said. What do you think, Tyler?
Well, good evening, ma'am. Actually, the name is Tom from Poughkeepsie.
All right, Tom. So how you doing? What do you think?
I think the people who elected this guy for mayor of New York City did not have their head on straight whatsoever, and they will reap the whirlwind. He is a disgrace, in my opinion. I enjoy St. Patrick's Day. I marched in the St. Patrick's Day parade a few times over the years with Marist College, where I went to school up here. I went to school for a year in Ireland through a Marist exchange program in the 70s, and St. Patrick's Day in Ireland, at least back then, was a holy day of obligation. They didn't have the parades like we have here. And when I was in Ireland then, most Irish people in the Republic condemned the IRA as a terrorist group, which it is and which it was. And to have this mayor, so-called mayor, bring up Palestinian terrorism during St. Patrick's Day out of context, I think is insulting to the spirit of the day. I hope is removed, and I hope we ban the immigration of people from Middle Eastern countries who are radical Muslims. Time and time again, they have caused terror in this country, and we have to put a stop to it. We should not allow them to enter our country.
Well, I will say there are a lot of people who come into our country that don't love our country and don't appreciate our values, don't appreciate our allies. And, look, I'll bring it up again. Mandani has hanging around with a guy named Hassan Piker, who is a social media influencer. And he's the one who said, I said it. America deserved 9/11. I mean, that speaks volumes. The Hassan Piker guy since apologized after all the outcry. But when someone says it, I think you need to believe them, that that's what they really sincerely feel. My opinion is, obviously, there are so many questionable characters. And then this Mahmoud Khalil guy who leads all these protests across the country, that many of them are very much pro-Hamas, blatantly anti-Semitic. And all of those, it doesn't seem like Mandani can't help but embrace all of these people enough. And he's like sticking it in everybody's face. Look who else I'm hanging out with. Look who else I'm hanging out with. And there's a clear pattern here. And it is really troubling, Tyler. And it is shocking that he won. I mean, if somebody said, a year or two ago, here's a guy in 2026, this guy who's anti-this, defund the police, all these things. Let's elect that guy. You think it's a joke. Sadly, I think the joke's on everybody in New York right now, and it's going to be a bumpy ride. There's no question about it. Tyler, thank you. Really great to hear from you. We're going to continue your calls, everybody, after the break. Mandani uses St. Patrick's Day and says it's all about genocide in Palestine, as he says, how completely inappropriate. And we'll also talk about Mahmoud Khalil, because that guy said you shouldn't question Palestinians about Hamas. That's racist. 1-800-848-9222. We'll talk about that and much more after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Baseball is back, and the first pitch is on Netflix. The New York Yankees, led by seven-time All-Star Aaron Judge, head to the San Francisco Bay to take on Rafael Devers' San Francisco Giants. This season kicks off with one exclusive opening night game. Watch MLB Opening Night, the New York Yankees versus the San Francisco Giants, live on Netflix. Wednesday, March 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And coming up on the Rita Cosby Show, Israel takes out two enormously high leaders in Iran. One of them, the de facto leader, another one with a force that was responsible for killing those tens of thousands of their own citizens. Monsters and incredible precision and incredible intelligence, obviously, for Israel to now take out these individuals. We're going to get to that and what it means in the war against Iran. And also, Mandani spends St. Patrick's Day talking about what he says is the genocide on Palestine. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Robert in Brooklyn. Go ahead, Robert. Your thoughts tonight.
Rita, thank you. Hi, Rita. Thanks for taking my call. Well, the White Papers Policy Institute, which is retreated by the Conservative Treehouse, they point out the statistics that from 1980 to 2025, so that's like the past 45 years, the foreign-born population of America has increased by 278%, but the American-born population has only increased by 33%. So American-born population only 33% increase, but foreign-born population 278%.
Wow!
Now that's one.
I'm impressed by the number because that is really shocking. But I'm not surprised. But it's good to know. Go ahead, Robert. You always have good info.
Well, that's one factor. You're talking about the anti-Semitism. That's one factor, the change in population. Now, there was Jacob Cornblay tweeted out the NBC poll. 57% of Democrats have a negative view of Israel. 54% of Republicans view Israel positively. Only 17% of Democrat voters sympathize with Israel in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. But it's not even so good in the Republicans, because in the Republicans, you have a situation where there was Al Gemeiner has the Manhattan Institute poll pointing out that 45% of Republicans under the age of 44 said that Jews pose a threat to the American way of life. It's unbelievable. 40% for Republicans.
I find that number surprising, Robert. I can't imagine it's that high. I'm not saying the poll's wrong, but you gotta. But I would like to see other polls, Robert.
Well, Rita, that was from the Manhattan Institute. It's brought down Al Gemeiner. And I just want to point out that, all this unbelievable deluge of, anti-Semitism that's being propaganda, whether it's from the left, or from the right, like Tucker Carlson, or the left, like, Columbia University.
Yep. No, I hear it's not good. Either direction, it is not good.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?